Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. It's September 4th, which is Labor Day weekend. Hard to believe summer is come and gone, but I'm here with Steve, my partner in crime here. And Steve, how are you doing today?
I am good. I'd like to wish a happy birthday belated on September 1st to my daughter Emily and to my goddaughter
My daughter,
Nicole.
Nicole. That's right.
Can't make this up, but it's true.
It is actually right. And your little girl's on her way to college, and
She is there. She's all tucked in at Boston University.
Good.
Midweek, my first little birdie flying the nest.
Yep.
And then it was a tough week. My son had surgery on his elbow, and here we are. But
Yep. So happy birthday to our little girls there.
See.
So Steve, let's start the show off with a monologue and take it away.
Well, we were just discussing before the show about our beloved New York Yankees, and I have to start there. So, 15 games we were up. We were having a conversation. Will the Yankees have the most all-time wins during the season in the first half? And they couldn't lose. So, the novel, A Tale of Two Cities, it was the worst of times, it was the best of times. Well, right now it's the worst of times.
It is.
So when I left work on, I was off Friday, so I left Thursday, and all my Met fans are breaking chops and saying, conceivably, when I see you guys on Tuesday, the lead may be two in the loss column, and it is fast approaching.
Yeah.
So what we're watching is we don't know if this will be an historic collapse, but it's trending that way. And Aaron Judge, you could not possibly have any more leverage than what Aaron Judge has right now. And the fact that what Aaron Judge is doing, he hit his 52nd home run, and where would they be without Aaron Judge? It's just very tough to watch. There seems to be no energy whatsoever emanating from the dugout. Corey Kluber, who we had last year, actually threw a no-hitter for the Yankees last year, was on the mound last night. And Clark Schmidt, who was one of our up-and-coming pitchers, pitches a good game, and we lose 2-1. But they lost 9-0 to Tampa the previous night, and things are not well in the Bronx. And we just may be looking at a very historic collapse here. I can't say when this free fall and if it's going to stop, will stop, but this is pretty tough to watch here. So much concern for my New York Yankees.
Okay, and listen, we were talking to Rob this morning, who's I guess on the Aaron Boone, he's got to be fired, and I said, well, Aaron Boone's not the one that's hitting 220. 8 out of the 9 starters are hitting 220, and it's not gonna pan out anywhere near. Like I said, without Aaron Judge, I don't know. You're right. The lead they may be 4 behind or something, but it's starting to happen.
Chances are, if they still collapse, they get the wild card, right?
Oh, they're in the playoffs.
Well, we don't know that yet. There's still a few weeks to go. Obviously, high percentage that they'll, at least get the wild card. But before the season started, I'll say this: they're playing like the team I kind of thought that they would be, because I didn't foresee the Yankees making noise this year, right? So when you're batting Josh Donaldson and Gleyber Torres back to back in the lineup, who's that going to scare? Right? We have a new catcher that has done a very serviceable job.
More than serviceable.
Anthony Rizzo, is 32 years old. Does he have a lot of RBIs? Sure, he does. He's batting 220, right? Aaron Hicks, I saw a stat last week. He got his first hit on Sunday since August 12th. August 12th, right?
Yep.
Major League Baseball player, first hit in over 3 weeks.
Yep.
Come on. The pitching, the starting pitching has been there. I'm not going to say that's the Achilles heel of them, but when you have this piece of crap like Aroldis Chapman going in for a tattoo 2 weeks ago. Why? Number one. And number two, gets this infection. And it's such a bad scene. It's a bad look.
Yeah.
And again,
The seams are coming undone on the
they
baseball.
most certainly are. And as far as Aaron Boone is concerned, he's won 100 games twice.
I don't have a problem with him. I don't think he's the problem at all.
I listen to my friends. I have a brother who will remain anonymous, but he hates Aaron Boone, and he hates that Aaron Boone will use 7 pitchers in a game, and on and on and on. But I'm a believer in the manager does not play. The manager's job is to put the team in the best possible position for them to execute.
I understand that.
Right? So people can point fingers all they want at Aaron Boone, but
Yep.
who are you supposed to replace him with? Who are you bringing in that would make a difference? Because they all look at analytics now. They all go to the book.
We know that.
Right, and on and on.
We know
But the
that.
Yankees need to win today. So today is when they say this is a must-win game. This is a must-win game.
Right. So, and the Mets and the Dodgers up. We got a Rob producer here, the Aaron Boone
point counterpoint. Here we go.
Here's my theory. You hear it first if this ever happens. Boone doesn't make it this year, right? Don Mattingly gets fired from Miami next season. Don Mattingly is your manager.
No, I disagree.
Possible.
I disagree.
Possible.
Boone signed a 3-year deal. He's not going anywhere. Cashman will have to go before Aaron Boone goes.
And I don't.
Brian Cashman is not, in my opinion, is not going to fire Aaron Boone because I don't think Cashman thinks Aaron Boone is the reason.
He's the only guy that has any passion. I mean, right now it seems like I got to be honest. So anyway, so baseball, the Mets are looking pretty good. They got DeGrom and Scherzer, although Scherzer may have gotten injured yesterday. Hard to believe, but anyway. And the polar bear, okay, he's got to stop it with the breaking bats over his knee kind of thing. That's getting a little Hollywood. Anyway, but that's good monologue, Steve. And of course, our monologue was sponsored by Coriano Trucking.
So speaking of the Mets, they've gone the Dodgers this week. And this is absolutely, most likely, a preview of the NL Championship Series, right?
Yep.
And again, the Mets have their hands full with the Atlanta Braves. Let's make no mistake about that. But the LA Dodgers are a machine, and
I mean, they lost a couple, to the Mets, but
it doesn't matter. I mean, the fact of the matter is, these are, we're talking to, in my opinion, the 3 best teams in Major League Baseball.
Without question.
The Mets,
and you got to throw the Astros too. I mean, they're in there. They're in the mix.
Right. So let's say the Yankees want to play the Astros. Even if the Yankees won the division and they win, if they hypothetically win 105, 106, which is not going to happen, of course, but I still think the Houston Astros would have swept us.
Well, they need Verlander. If he's out for an extended period of time, that's going to take them down a notch because he's having a Cy Young season.
It doesn't help them, but again, the way the Yankees are playing, they're not a threat to anybody.
Okay, Steve, let's move on. We got a lot of stuff to cover. And, yesterday was quote unquote opening day in college football. And the marquee game was Ohio State, Notre Dame. And Steve and I were talking about this just before the start of the show. I think Notre Dame is in really good hands with this Marcus Freeman. I was very pleased with how involved in the game he is. He seems to have it under control. And they just put a great showing, but they lost to a better Ohio State team. But I think I was a little skeptical of the selection in the beginning of when Kelly left, but I like their choice. And Ohio State looks like Ohio State. And by the way, in that game there were 3 St. Joseph Regional alumni, and Steve and I have always told you we're St. Joe's grads as well. Audric Estime, who, God almighty, he looks, as big as a house. I mean, from a power perspective. So he's firmly entrenched. He's a freshman.
Running back for Notre Dame.
Right. And Howard Cross, son of Howard Cross, former New York Giants tight end, who's a great kid, by the way, as well, because I've met him. and he looks real formidable for Notre Dame. And of course, Luke Whippler, like we talked about, this kid is really he played a great game last night, and he needed to play because that guy Michael Hall is tough on Ohio State. So, like I said, and Steve, you hit it right on the head. I mean, we both thought that 17-point underdogs or whatever it was, and my position on point spreads, but Notre Dame, they should hold their head up high. I think they played a great game, and Ohio State's just got a little bit more talent right now.
Yeah. So I was impressed with Notre Dame. This Michael Mayer, tight end on Notre Dame,
Oh, my God.
is a beast. And I'm not going to compare him to Mark Bavaro, but this kid has super hands. He's tough to bring down, runs good patterns.
He could be a top 5 pick. I mean, that's what kind of player he is.
Well,
yeah.
he's very talented.
Yep.
And Notre Dame, good showing. Ohio State is ranked number 2 in the country for a reason. Notre Dame, number 5. I think Notre Dame will drop, obviously. I'd still think they most likely would remain maybe at 10. They may drop 5. But the point about yesterday is you got to give both teams credit for scheduling this game in game 1, as opposed to the cupcakes of Georgia scoring on first 7 possessions, beating the crap out of Pansy. USC, the Lincoln Riley debate, they throw up 66. Miami throws up a lot of points
against Bethune-Cookman.
A tough Bethune-Cookman team.
Right.
So I give these 2 teams credit for playing
Yep.
this marquee game early. And again, doing that helps with the power points, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the year, scheduling a game like this may benefit
I think so too.
a team getting into the top 4, for the college play.
And you know what? There were a couple other surprises. A lot of guys have been picking Utah as like one of the top 4 teams. And I actually saw, who was it? David Pollack, who I really like, former All-American at Georgia. Didn't have Georgia in the top 4. He had Utah. And they got beat by Florida, which was that was probably the biggest surprise yesterday.
Wow, that's the biggest upset of the day. There's no question. Florida, of course, is Florida. Dan Mullen gets fired. This is the new coach, Billy Napier. This is a huge win for him out of the gate.
Yeah,
and is Florida back? It's way too early to see.
Yeah.
But this Billy Napier selection as head coach of Florida,
good choice.
It's a good choice. Yep. He's like a young Dabo Swinney.
And one other thing that actually blew my mind, because I don't even know, have I been asleep for 10 years, but the backyard brawl, right? Pitt in West Virginia.
Yeah.
They haven't played since 2011.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, this is like one of the marquee games. You and I used to watch West Virginia and Pittsburgh the day after Thanksgiving every year for our entire lives. And I had no idea they haven't played in 2011, and I have no reason to even understand why. Why is that, by the way?
I don't find it unusual. I mean, it's the same thing as like Pitt not playing Penn State for a long period of time as well, right? So I'm serious. So that some rivalries have taken a hit. Oklahoma, Nebraska. They only played for the first time in a long time last year.
Yeah.
Things like that. So
I was a little surprised about that.
And Rutgers in New Jersey, they play
Boston College.
They beat BC 22-21. Johnny Langan, who's not playing quarterback now, but is a beast. He's a multi-purpose
good player.
Yeah, big time. Strong kid, real strong.
Bergen Catholic guy.
Right. Yep. Johnny Football, they called him.
Okay.
Right. Not that other Johnny Football.
I hope that's not the kiss of death for him.
To the other Johnny Football.
Right.
But overall, happy football's back.
Me too.
It's Labor Day weekend. We roll from here.
And I just wanted to let you know, I actually went to see our beloved alma mater, St. Joe's play. They lost their first game down at in Washington, D.C. against the powerhouse.
Good count.
Yeah, and they played DePaul yesterday. Game got kind of close at the end, but I just also wanted to bring up, I had a chance, I was talking to the game. A lot of people are on vacation, so it wasn't a huge turnout, but I met this guy, Joe Da Silva, young man from Kearney. And I was talking to another guy, and we literally spent the whole first half just talking, and he's just in admonishment of the talent on this. And Paul had a really big offensive line. And what a great kid he was. And this other guy was talking about, his son is 13. And, so when you're in New Jersey and you're 13, you got to choose between Don Bosco, St. Joe's, Bergen Catholic. And I said, this is a little biased, maybe, but I said, this would be a great place for your son to play. And he says, well, I'm certainly going to check it out. But Joe Da Silva, great time talking to you yesterday. And he was just there to watch the game. And I got a chance to meet Jimmy Mullen, right? The New Jersey Athlete of the Year. And I met his father yesterday. And when we talked about last week, Steve, right? Minor league football, go see a local high school football game. It really is great. $5 to get in, whatever. And just a great atmosphere. It really, I couldn't be more delighted that football is back. And, we're going to talk about the NFL in a little bit, but college and high school football these are the players that we're going to be playing in the National Football League soon. So great to see. So psyched it's back. And anyway, so let's move on. There was a big story this week, obviously, the Serena Williams and the U.S. Open. And I watched both her matches, all three of them. And for a 40-year-old woman, I got to give her a lot of credit. She held in there and ultimately lost. But I got this, Steve. I got this thing that's been driving me crazy, and it was actually the broadcast. Right, these kids that Serena Williams beat, right, Konovit in the second round, and she lost the third round to Tomljanovic. 29,000 fans rooting for Serena Williams, and not one of them, right, rooting for these other kids, right? But the announcers, and Chris Everett and John McEnroe, you should be ashamed of yourself, because Chris Everett was a young girl when she came up and playing tennis, and the odds were completely stacked against her, these kids, but they gave them no credit whatsoever. It was 100%. And I know that's the storyline, but you got to give these kids credit. Konovit in the second round succumbed to that pressure, right? It's just 29,000 against one. But this other kid who she lost to was determined, and she just sit there and said, there's nothing I could do about it. But I just really was so disappointed in Chris Everett and John McEnroe not giving these kids any credit at all on any of their great shots that they made, and the dominance, in the third set that she took Serena apart. Great story. I think we were all rooting for Serena Williams. And when we think about this, I saw a piece this morning on Arthur Ashe, right? So we talk about Serena Williams and being the GOAT and so forth. But, I watched this thing on Arthur Ashe, who was just, God, you want to talk about a role model? He was so awesome. And his wife is still alive, and talked about his legacy. But these are the people that made it possible for Serena Williams. And listen, Serena Williams is making it possible for other young girls in the tennis world. Women's side is wide open. And I just was really disappointed in the broadcast of ESPN not giving these kids credit. I know it's kind of I don't know, just a pet peeve of mine,
Right. I mean, it was a Serena fest. I mean, that's what it is. And listen, it's over. So
It is.
So it's
I'm not sure that she's done. I mean, I don't know. She's got a lot left in the tank, I think. But to compete against, a 29-year-old, that's a formidable challenge, obviously. But it was a great run for her, And,
no question, 23 majors.
Yep.
I think Margaret Court has the record of 24, if I'm not mistaken.
You're not mistaken.
And
yep.
But a great career. And my surprise, McEnroe and Chris Everett, doing the Serena,
Yeah.
Feeding of her. It's well deserved. But
Not disputing it. But
Well-
I just wanted to give those other kids credit for just
Sure.
what talk about having the odds stacked against them. It was
Right.
great to see.
Yeah.
Um,
and there's Kyrgios guy on the men's side. I've already had it with the guy.
I can't even watch him
I'm not-
play.
really. It's to the point where he comes on the TV, I'm getting up and
Yep.
not watching. I'm not going to watch this.
I feel the same way.
I'm not watching these antics. I'm not doing it.
I feel the same way. But one other thing before we move on to our NFL preview show, if you will. Rory McIlroy won the FedEx Cup last week, and listen, I have completely turned around. I wasn't a big fan of his, but I love what he's done as far as standing up to this live golf thing, and he beat Scotty Scheffler, and I mean,
Scotty Scheffler beat himself too.
he kind of did. He kind of did.
Be real here.
But it's kind of fitting though that McIlroy wins this. I give him a lot of credit, and golf is. Yep, there he is. Now that's a producer right there.
That's right. But again, Rory McIlroy. I've never disliked Rory McIlroy. Really, I've been kind of quiet about my rooting interest for him, so to speak.
Yeah, me too.
But I think he's handled this well.
Great.
Listen, he's very tight. Justin Thomas and McIlroy are probably Tiger Woods' two closest golfing, contemporary friends, right?
Yeah.
So Rory McIlroy makes a ton of money. Rory McIlroy, I don't see him. It would be extremely hypocritical of him if he does jump to live in the near future.
He can't jump now.
That's the point. He can't jump now. However, if you notice the PGA, all of a sudden the PGA has all this unfound money now that they're enhancing the purses and so on and so forth. So the one thing I will give the live movement, if you will, is credit that this prompt the PGA to open their cash register a little bit more, right? So
and without breaking out the violins, these guys make millions and millions.
Well, not
anyway,
at all. But again, this creation of this league is the reason that the PGA is opening their coffers, and hopefully that should stop the bleeding, if you will, of major golfers jumping over. But this war is far from over. This is still somewhat in its infancy.
But I did love the Gary Player coming out, says I wouldn't trade my 9 majors for $1 billion. Yeah. So when you talk about traditionalists and the appreciation they've had for what kind of life Gary Player has had, I thought that was a great statement.
Yeah,
it really was.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so Steve, let's move on to our NFL, right? We're 1 week away, actually 5 days away, right? The Bills and Rams kick off the season Thursday night, right? Thursday night football.
See.
Right. So let's go down the list and see where we stand. Right. Let's start in the NFC East. I think your Dallas Cowboys are probably going to win that division. I like their chances, but I'll be honest with you. I think the biggest problem for the Dallas Cowboys is their coach, Mike McCarthy. I think he's the one liability. I think that could. He's a horrible game manager. He makes terrible decisions. But I like Dallas. I like the talent.
Where is this coming from? Crushing my coach.
I'm sorry. I think you feel the same way too.
He's a Super Bowl winning coach.
I got it. But he also had a Super Bowl Hall of Fame quarterback that got him there.
Okay.
Can he do it with a guy who's probably not going to the Hall of Fame and Dak Prescott? But I look for him to have a big season.
Well, I'm going on my 26th year of not winning the Super Bowl. So
I know.
I listen. The big problem for me is Tyron Smith going down. This is no joke. We drafted Tyler Smith out of Tulsa, and this kid had 16 freaking holding penalties his senior year.
I know.
Okay, that's a problem.
It's a problem.
So now we have to insert a complete rookie in this position with a history of holding. So that's a problem.
But I think listen.
We're talking to Jason Peters, trying to coach him out of retirement at age 40. But yeah, you give me a Jason Peters at age 40 over a rookie with 16 holding penalties his
All right.
senior year, and I'm starting Jason Peters. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles drafted extremely well,
Oh, they did. Yeah.
and I think the Eagles have.
They got the best running game
Well,
in the league.
I think
so.
the Eagles have a very good shot at winning the division over the Cowboys, to be honest.
Well, it's a two-horse race. Obviously, the Giants aren't going to be there. This is a rebuilding year for them, kind of thing. A lot of injuries, and of course, obviously the Daniel Jones factor. And Washington, you could cross them off the list with Carson Wentz, so they're not going to be formidable.
You're right.
Weisenheimer out.
But Giants, I don't foresee the Giants having more than 5 wins. And listen, the unwritten rule, the quiet thing will be the Giants would make sense to do the quote unquote tanking. Okay. I'm telling you, they if they need a top quarterback, they have to have a top 5 pick because the consensus is there's 6 to 7 kids that potentially could be first round picks. Not saying because nobody can say that they're tanking, and again, I'm not being out of line because of the story we just read about Miami and all this other stuff with Stephen Ross and stuff was proven and unproven. But the bottom line is, let's be real, they tank.
And it's a two-horse race in Dallas. I mean, both of them will get at least 10, possibly 11. And listen, with that running game that Philadelphia has, they got a great offensive line. Maybe, Jalen Hurts doesn't have to be, that pivotal point of that team.
Jalen Hurts has to play like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not a drop back quarterback like an Aaron Rodgers or Matt Ryan.
You're right,
or whatever.
And that always opens it up for.
He's got to be. He's got to be the game manager.
Yep.
Right. Jalen Hurts' arm is not terrible. He's very mobile.
Oh, no question.
So Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback in Philly for a reason. I'm still kind of taken aback a bit that he is the starting quarterback in Philly, and I like the kid in college, won a national championship. I get it, but yeah. I'm going to favor the Eagles actually winning the division.
All right. Well, they're both going to get 10, 11 wins, so I think it's up in the air. But the other two, it's a two-horse race there. Let's go to the NFC North, right? I mean, how could you not pick Green Bay, right? I mean, I think Devontae Adams a big loss, but Rodgers seems determined. As much as I've been turned off by him and all his off-the-field antics kind of thing, I think they're still the team to beat. Detroit, I watched the 10 minutes of a preseason. I go, that's Detroit. They're out. Minnesota, I can't put my cards on Kirk Cousins' side of the table. I don't know what's going on. And that franchise has been on the decline for years. I don't see them. And I don't see, honestly, Chicago. I know this is, a lot of optimism about Justin Fields. I'm just not sure he's that caliber of a player we thought he was going to be coming out of Ohio State.
Yeah, we don't know that yet. I mean, you have to ride Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. It would be nonsensical not to do that.
Right.
As far as the Bears, they got they got the new GM, and and if you were going to be in a fight, who would you take, Jordan or Ditka? So, however,
I spoon-fed you that one,
and I took it from there.
Okay.
However, Green Bay, Minnesota, obviously, I don't put any stock in Kirk Cousins. They have a new coach in Kevin O'Connell.
And this Justin Jefferson is the real deal too. So,
and then you have Detroit. I would say Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit.
Yep, agreed. But I think Green Bay, they still got a great running game, right? Dillon, and who's the other guy? The other running back. Escaping me for a second.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones, right. So they got Rodgers, they got a good running game. I think they got some players that they should walk in that division. The NFC South, right? I mean, obviously, I guess you would have to put your money on Brady, but he may not be the Tom Brady that, we've grown accustomed to. He's got a lot of off the field distractions. And overall, I don't see that, as a powerhouse. I don't think that's an easy pick to take them. New Orleans, I know there's the Jameis Winston factor. He could either be great or he could be horrible. But I like New Orleans in this division. I think they're going to be a surprise team in the NFC.
Everybody knows my feelings of Jameis Winston. However, I think even with Dennis Allen taking over as the head coach, I think New Orleans slowly but surely has been rebuilding. Michael Thomas should be healthy. I like New Orleans in this division. I actually saw Ian Book play the other night. The ex Notre Dame quarterback, Taysom Hill is really not the answer backup. He's more of he's very athletic. So Taysom Hill is more of a special player, specialty guy. But I got to tell you, Ian Book looked pretty good. And I'm not saying Ian Book is, going to supplant Winston by week 3, week 4, whatever.
Well, until Winston gets hurt.
He will get hurt,
right?
But I like the way Ian Book looked,
and you can't.
But New Orleans, I got to say, wins that division. Mayfield takes over in Carolina.
They're a mess.
We love Christian McCaffrey, but Christian McCaffrey cannot shoulder the load. You cannot give him the ball.
He'll be out by week 5.
You can't give it to him 20 times a game.
And Atlanta, listen, they're Atlanta. They made the big decision that they would part ways with Matt Ryan. They weren't winning with him anyway. And we've seen this Marcus Mariota show before. He's serviceable quarterback, but I look for Desmond Ridder to take over for him before the season's out. And I think he's the quarterback of the future for them, but this isn't going to be the year they're going to make.
I can see Mariota playing the year, being, like you said, he's not the worst thing we've ever seen. He's not an Andre Ware or some nonsense like that.
Right.
But Desmond Ridder, I think, has had a real good camp, and
I like him.
And the chances going forward,
I like him.
Desmond Ridder could be the quarterback for the Falcons, by next year or so.
And then we move to the West. I mean, right? You got Arizona, and again, they succumbed and gave in to Kyler Murray, and he's the second highest paid quarterback in the league. Okay. I'm not sure why. He hasn't earned that right. I just don't see him as a leader. I don't think his teammates like him, so I don't see them as a team to be reckoned with.
Where did this come from? Kyler Murray.
What has he done? What has he done, really?
Kyler Murray is considered the greatest Texas high school quarterback to ever play.
But he's playing for the Arizona Cardinals.
Kyler Murray won the Heisman Trophy at the University of Oklahoma.
I know that.
Kyler Murray won the Rookie of the Year as quarterback.
Okay, but
Kyler Murray
alienated his team.
I don't see that. I'm completely on the other fence.
Okay,
you don't give a contract to somebody like that if his teammates and don't like him and there's no leadership qualities.
What was their alternative?
They paid him. They paid him, and he's 25, whatever he is.
And he's tough to catch. I'll get you that. He's that new type of quarterback.
I got no issue with Kyler.
I don't know if he's a winner. I don't know if he's a winner.
I disagree.
And the Rams will be the Rams, right? Assuming Stafford stays healthy. But
the Rams will have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover.
I think so, too.
So when they open up against the Bills, a friend of mine actually asked me last night, and she said, do you like the Bills or Rams on Thursday night? And I said, I'm just guessing Super Bowl hangover. And the Bills are, pretty tough.
They are.
Speaking of the Bills, we have to bring up this Matt Araiza story, the punt god.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up later after our preview, but it's a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. I watched this kid at San Diego State, and when I tell you this is the second coming of Ray Guy. Okay. This kid, he kicked an 82-yard punt in preseason.
Well, he's not kicking in this league anymore.
No, he's not. And, what I find incredulous is the Buffalo Bills drafted him. And you're going to tell me, with all the background checks and everything that goes on.
They 100% knew about it.
Of course. Let's be real.
And you know who the coach is at San Diego State?
Brady Hoke, ex-Michigan.
That's right. So listen, we'll see about those. San Francisco, this is Trey Lance's team now. He's going to have some growing pains, but I think they're moving on from this Garoppolo thing. But I just don't see them having that kind of a year that they could challenge the Rams.
They got Garoppolo.
Back
Again,
up.
I mean, they have a perfect quarterback situation.
Yeah.
They really do.
Right, I agree. I think it's Lance's chance, though. I give
Of
him
course,
that.
I mean, he has the keys to the car. There's
He
no
does.
question. But should he get hurt, you got Jimmy G coming back in. Forget it. I mean, that's good stuff.
Right. There's one other team in the NFC West, and I don't know what Pete Carroll. He's lost his mind if he thinks they're gonna start Geno Smith or Drew Lock or something. But they didn't think about this when they got rid of Russell Wilson, and they didn't have a backup plan, and they're gonna be a terrible football team this year.
I don't foresee Seattle making a lot of noise, especially with Geno Smith.
Yep.
Maybe starting quarterback. Just the name Geno Smith
Yep.
tells you the state of the Seattle Seahawks.
So let's punt the football downfield and go to the AFC West. And I think, look, listen, clearly Buffalo is the team to beat. I think Josh Allen has firmly solidified himself as a top flight quarterback. They got a lot of talent. I don't see anybody challenging them. Certainly not the Jets. And both you and I, Steve, I think you would agree, we're starting to get a little reluctant on Zach Wilson, and is he the future? Is he going to be a Sam Darnold type bust? Possibly, but they're not going to make any noise. I like Matt Jones in New England. I just don't get the whole turning the offense over to who is it? Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, right? But they're not as bad as people think. And I know you're bigger on Tua than I am, but Miami's first 4 games of the season, they could be 1-3. And if they're 1-3, then that's a hole they're not going to be able to dig out. Certainly not by big Buffalo.
Talented.
They're Miami, though.
No,
they're Miami.
I think they're going to be better than what people think, and
possibly second place.
And I may be the only one on the planet left that thinks Tua can actually be a decent quarterback.
Yeah, I don't. I can't buy into that anymore.
I don't understand why.
Because
what?
I just haven't seen any kind of leadership, and I still question his arm. I really do.
I'm not saying he's Darryl LaMonica throwing a deep ball. You don't have to be that. You don't.
Well, you got a deep wide receiver that you went to get. I don't know that he can get him that ball down.
He's going to have to get him the ball within 30, 40 yards is what he's going to have to do.
And how much pounding is he going to be able to take catching the ball 30 yards down the field? He's going to get beat up. He's going to get beat up.
That's football.
Anyway, let's move on. The AFC North.
So I like the Bills.
Okay, me too. Easy pick, I think.
There. And back to the West, I like the Rams. The repeat.
Yeah, because there's no other formidable team.
Repeat winning in the third division.
Right. So the AFC, right? Obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. He's legitimate, so he's good. But I like Baltimore to take this division. I think Lamar Jackson is going to have a great year. He's going to be the highest paid player in football. And Cincinnati, you can talk about kind of a Super Bowl hangover. Maybe they lost a bunch of guys in free agency, but Burrow is formidable. Cleveland, obviously, in the garbage, and Pittsburgh. You know what? Pittsburgh could be a big surprise. I think Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in football, so I think he's got enough to get them there. But that's one of the tougher divisions in the league. I mean, yeah, I think so.
And it's between Cincinnati and Baltimore. If things go accordingly with Baltimore, you got John Harbaugh running the show.
He's a great coach too.
He is. Yeah. So I got to think again. It's a contract year for Jackson, so you could probably see a performance equivalent to like what Aaron Judge is doing with the Yankees betting him. So
yeah. So let's go to the AFC South. This is a kind of an interesting thing. Indianapolis can Matt Ryan?
Yes.
Does he have something left in the tank?
I
Okay.
think Indianapolis is going to be formidable this year.
Well, they got a great running back, Jonathan Taylor. So yeah, they could make some noise. There's really nobody else other than Tennessee. Tennessee with Derrick Henry. I just listen. I don't know that Ryan Tannehill's ever going to get over that championship game loss. I just don't know if Henry can carry that team on his shoulders by himself because I don't see Tannehill being that elite quarterback, and I think that's going to hurt them down the road. So I'm going to go with Indianapolis here.
I'm all in on Indianapolis. And Ryan Tannehill is a guy that Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect. I get no respect. I'm serious. Tannehill has been in this league now for a long time.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, again, for those that don't remember, Ryan Tannehill played wide receiver at Texas A&M and
Became a quarterback.
became a quarterback.
Yeah.
And listen, Matt Vrabel, right?
Great coach.
Mike
too.
Vrabel. Vrabel is one tough guy to play for and please. Okay,
He is.
He's intense.
He's like a Tomlin kind of guy. Though. He's tough
Absolutely.
to satisfy.
However, Ryan Tannehill is still the quarterback for the Titans. So to me, if Vrabel is not signing off on him being his quarterback, despite the championship game loss, etc., but Tennessee's making these strides, and of course, Derrick Henry is an integral part of that.
And they just paid him.
But Ryan Tannehill, he's going to be the quarterback this year, possibly next year. And they drafted Malik Willis, and this kid's going to have to grow into the position. However,
I think he's going to get a chance sooner than later.
But however, Indianapolis, I think Matt Ryan is the difference, especially the way Indianapolis choked at the end of last year. They go to Jacksonville, have to win that game, and Carson Wentz, basically shits the bed.
Yeah,
so
he did.
Matt Ryan's the difference. I like the Colts. I think defensively they got talent. And we'll see what goes.
Well, it's a 2-horse race there because Jacksonville, and again, we've always liked this Trevor Lawrence. He's another guy. I just wonder, can this translate into a National Football League quarterback? I don't know. Certainly, they don't have enough talent around him to make any noise. But this is kind of a let's see what he's got kind of year.
Trevor Lawrence to me is still Trevor Lawrence. I mean, it was just an absolute train wreck with Urban Meyer. I mean, it was
embarrassing.
Just basically a wasted year.
It was.
It really in his development. So Doug Peterson, obviously Super Bowl winning coach, ex-quarterback. See, I like that Peterson is now going to mentor Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has all the talent in the world.
I know.
See, he's made some throws here and there that I've seen, as a Jaguar.
But they don't have a lot of other talent.
But I get that. But Trevor Lawrence is 23, if that, maybe 24 tops.
Yeah.
And listen,
that's kind of a wide open division, to be quite honest.
Yeah, Jacksonville's not making any noise. But I'm saying the development of Trevor Lawrence, he can turn into.
And Houston's a mess.
A damn good quarterback.
Yep. So here's the best division in football, I think, right? The AFC West, right? You got the Broncos. You know what? When they made the run, you and I have been Russell Wilson guys since his days in college at Wisconsin and all that kind of stuff.
And then more so since Sierra came on the
scene. Yeah, that doesn't hurt his chances. But I just don't know that makes them a Super Bowl contender. I don't know if he has enough around him. He's still more than serviceable quarterback in this league. They just made him. They just all bought in on him, gave him the money.
He's now the second highest pick.
Right. And but I just don't know that he's got enough talent around him because this is a tough division. Because you got Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, which, to be quite honest, that's my Super Bowl pick. I like for Patrick Mahomes to bounce back. He's just got this innate ability to win football games. And we're Andy Reid guys. I like the talent around him. He doesn't seem to think it's going to make any kind of an impact, not having Tyreek Hill on it. He can improvise. I like their chances, and I like their chances to go all the way, quite honestly. Vegas, this Derek Carr thing, I don't know. I mean, I think he's got the talent. I just don't know if he's got the talent to be a winning quarterback in this league. Something about him is just doesn't sit well with me.
I mean, this is an enigma for me. People think Derek Carr, like Derek Carr is outstanding. Derek Carr is one of the top 6 quarterbacks in the league.
Well, he's got Philip Rivers numbers. He puts up big numbers. But
Okay.
when are they going to win? When are they going to win something?
You know, they fired Mayock and Gruden, and who did they cut during the week? Alex Leatherwood. Who was he? Their #1 freaking draft pick last year. Cut him, right? And he
Yeah.
gets picked up by somebody. I can't remember who now.
Yeah, I
like
don't know.
Cincinnati or something.
Tennessee
Or whatever.
something
But
like that.
Alex Leatherwood, I mean, bust. I mean, Cleveland Ferrell, right? This guy's supposed to be Deacon Jones or something. What are you kidding? Henry Ruggs, who's sitting in jail. Damon Arnett, sitting in jail.
But this is the Raiders.
I
That's why,
understand that, but that answers your question. Meaning, I'm not, you need talent around you. And I think McDaniels, and this is his first year, there's going to be some hiccups with the new system and everything like that. But Derek Carr has a lot left in the tank. And to get Devontae Adams, which they were teammates at Fresno, helps. And the Raiders, I think, are
we're leaving a team out.
a year or two away.
We're leaving a team out.
No, I'm saving this team. I'm saving the LA Chargers.
That's right.
Because the LA Chargers, to me, I think is going to win the division. And I love Patrick Mahomes, and everybody knows. But I think Justin Herbert is ready. Justin Herbert had a phenomenal first 3 years.
Yeah, he's really matured.
They got talent.
They
though.
do.
They got Bosa. Derwin James, and it's on and on.
That's why I say it's the toughest division. In
Khalil
the league.
Mack they picked up, right? So this is the year that the Chargers need to take that step. The coach screws up this year, he's out. There's no question about it. And it's a destination for where Sean Payton may lie. LA, son, Justin Herbert. So if the Chargers coach
Didn't think of that.
does not perform and they don't get to the playoffs and they don't perform in the playoffs, I can see Sean Payton winding up in Chargers.
Yeah, but this is, like I said, this is a tough Denver and Kansas City and the Chargers. That's why I don't see the Raiders making any
I
noise.
think it's between the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm gonna give the Chargers the nod here because I think they have a lot of talent.
Well, listen.
Jeremy agrees with us. Me, Chargers.
Yeah, no, I think they're a legitimate team, but that's a tough division. I think the Super Bowl champions coming out of that division, whether it's the
Love the show. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yep. Listen, thanks guys on that aspect. So, Steve, who's your Super Bowl pick? Didn't tell me. I told you Kansas City is mine. So.
Saying Kansas City's yours.
Yeah.
Show. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. And again, they have to stay healthy.
Right? This kid's tough.
But any team needs to stay healthy. But I'm going to say the Chargers. And this would be the Chargers' first Super Bowl appearance since playing the San Francisco 49ers, where Steve Young just absolutely shredded. I think that's the Super Bowl where Young had 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, and it was tough. Yeah.
But again, I think the Chargers have just a ton of talent.
They do.
Ton of talent.
They do, but they got to get out of that division because it's tough.
So I'm going to go with the Chargers and the AFC.
And obviously, our loyal listeners are writing this down. So if we fall off the map here, they'll be the first to tell us. But NFL preview in the books.
Well, who's the NFC representative?
You can't see the Rams not getting back there. I mean, I know they're going to have a hangover in this, but they got a lot of talent on that team.
It's very tough to go back.
It is.
It's extremely.
Not saying they're going to win it. I'm saying I think they could get back there because I like Kansas City. I don't think Mahomes is going to leave one on the table if he gets back to the show. That's my point.
And the fact that it is difficult to do that, I just think the Rams are the best team NFC.
The other team I think is the only other one I think is a possibility is Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. I think the guy he's that good, and I think they got a lot of good players around him. I think they can make noise too.
I don't see him going to the Super Bowl.
We shall
Aaron
see.
Rodgers has one Super Bowl win. Aaron Rodgers
I
should
know.
have multiple Super Bowl wins.
Agreed.
Right.
I agree, especially for the noise he's made and the money he's making.
Right. So and I think Aaron Rodgers is more into doing his Nicolas Cage impressions, showing up for camp, and and reading about his psychedelic vacation.
Yeah, he's a psychotic guy now, actually.
Right.
But he's still talented as shit.
No, there's no question about it.
Yep. Anyway, so Steve, let's move on. I just want one random point.
But how
of
about
interest.
that? LA versus LA is my
That'd be pretty
my
cool.
My Super Bowl pick.
Pretty cool. We'll see. Random points of interest, sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut. And Steve, we bring it up week after week. Sports memorabilia is something bigger, and every single time. But now we got the new most valuable sports memorabilia of all time, a Mickey Mantle, 1952, because he didn't have a card in 1951, by the way, which is a little strange. Sold for $12.6 million. I mean,
Right.
yeah, I mean, if you got $12 million to blow, I guess that's something. This thing will turn around and sell for $20 million in 5 years. It's crazy. Breaks the previous record of the Hand of God jersey of Diego Maradona from the Hand of God game, which was like $8 million.
Right.
But a baseball card sold for $12.6 million.
Right. So we won't be talking about Honus Wagner much anymore.
No, maybe not, but that's sustainable for the past 100 years. I don't see that slowing down.
No question about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're supposed to be surprised by the money now. No,
I know.
And it's Mickey Mantle, and it's a mint condition. It's
Yeah.
It's everything that it's supposed to be. So. Listen, guys are making billions of dollars, so
12 million.
But
I get it.
exactly, it's like dropping a nickel in a 5 and dime store.
I get it. It's like owning a piece of art.
It really
It's something like that. Steve, notable passings, and we got a few, unfortunately, this week. Want to bring it up from the world of sports, and somebody you know very well because he was in Dallas for a while, Ernie Zampese.
Ernie Zampese, 86 years young.
Long time offensive coordinator in this league. And
Troy Aikman speaks the world of him.
Yep.
Ernie Zampese is one of the best offensive minds in modern football.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
And at 86, had a great career.
He did.
I had coached with the Tuna,
He did.
etc. So,
Yep.
Ernie Zampese, R.I.P.
Couple other ones from the world of sports, Steve. Ernie Shavers.
Yeah.
I remember there's a great quote from Muhammad Ali that, he was notoriously known as the hardest puncher in boxing. And Muhammad Ali said, he hit me so hard it shook my kinfolk back in Africa. That's how
It's a great line.
that was the acorn, as he mocked them before the fight.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he
But
had
how many fights did we see Ernie Shavers on Channel 7,
Yep.
on ABC in New
Yep.
York, on a Saturday afternoon, whether it's Wide World of Sports or whatever it was? But Ernie Shavers, it seemed like he fought every 2 weeks.
74, 14, and 1. 68 knockouts of his 74 wins. That's pretty unbelievable.
Right.
And he fought for the title twice. He fought it against Holmes and he fought one against Muhammad Ali. Right. And he was awesome, actually.
Right.
Except for, he couldn't get past these guys.
No, I mean, you can't fault them.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you lose to an Ali, you lose to a Holmes, you lose to.
Ernie Shavers.
He beat up Jerry Quarry. Well, Jerry Quarry must have been 38 of his wins.
Against Ernie Shavers. Yeah, right. All right. But Ernie Shavers was 78 years old. And one other passing was Steve White. He was a defensive end for the Tampa Bay Bucks for a long time. And believe it or not, he had 119 career sacks. And it was kind of under the radar. 48 years old, young guy. He had a pretty good career, and I was kind of surprised by that. He actually became like us, a successful podcast blogger kind of thing. But Steve White, under the radar guy, 119 sacks.
Wow.
Not bad.
No question.
Right? He
All
was
right,
only
good.
48 years old. Also, Robert Lupone. Our Sopranos fans will know him best as Dr. Cusimano. On a
Absolutely.
great show. Played a great role in that.
Yeah.
It was funny. Tony's neighbor in The Sopranos. He was 76, right?
Right.
Brother of Patty, obviously.
Right.
We knew that. Also from the world of entertainment. And this is another one. You might not know the name, but this guy has been in every television show ever made. Richard Rote. Look up his picture online and you'll see it because you'll say, "Oh my God, he's been in everything from
Mr.
Seinfeld."
Big.
He was the doctor in Seinfeld that Elaine Bennis, trouble,
Chart.
chart. Happy Days, Hill Street Blues, everything. You would definitely know the face. So he was 89.
89.
Yeah. And another big one from the world was Mikhail Gorbachev. And I'd be quite honest with you, I didn't even know he was still around. I would have obviously remembered that. 91 years old. And I got to tell you, I mean, he was a great figure. And he tried to do all the right things, which Putin has since undone in Russia. But, and exactly the whole relationship he had with Ronald Reagan and stuff was just great. I thought he was just a great world leader.
Absolutely. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Tear down this wall.
But Gorbachev
91, Steve.
and the meetings with Reagan, Reykjavik, and
Yep.
all this stuff was so historic for us.
Big time world leader.
Right. I've been to Berlin. I've lived in Germany in the 90s, and I've been to Berlin several times, so maybe 5.
Oh, okay.
And I've been to Checkpoint Charlie. I've been to the Brandenburg Gate. I've been to the wall, right? And when news came of the wall coming down, I'm just saying,
Changed the world.
because I had the ability to, see this in person. That was unbelievable.
It was.
That's all we knew.
Yep.
Was East-West Germany and the wall.
Yeah.
Right. So
Great world leader, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
absolutely notable.
91, I think he was.
And Steve, before we wrap up, like I said, we take sports sometimes, over the top, but there was a real special moment in Uvalde, Texas, after what they went through, and the high school team got back on the field from the football. It's kind of bringing the community together. And kudos to the Houston Texans, bought them uniforms and so forth. It's something of a tragedy that'll never ever go away in that town. But we bring sports to that kind of level where it can unite people. I think it was a great move by Houston, and wish them all the best in their season.
Absolutely. I mean, again, this is such a horrific thing that happened there, and at some point, the sense of normalcy has to start,
Coming back.
creeping back into reality.
You're right.
So it's a good story. I'm glad that hopefully we can put this behind us.
Yep. So thanks for joining us, everybody. And of course, please, as always, send us an email at sportswithmanoandmano@gmail.com. And like I said, kickoff is Thursday night with the Bills and the Rams, and college football and high school football underway. So this is in our wheelhouse. And we couldn't thank our loyal listeners enough for the support. And we're gaining some strength, and we'll be back with you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
Be good.